Welcome to Kauffman Stadium. Andy, McCullough on my right, Kauffman Stadium out there. Vahe, Gregorian here. Privileged to be doing this video with Andy on the very same day I got to do a 3 and out with Therese. One day we'll have Andy and Therese together and the world will explode. But for now, heads exploding with thoughts of the Royals rotation. Ned made a point of saying he wasn't going to tell you because he was feeling like a punk.
Sure.
Being a little bit of a punk.
Being a punk.
Which I thought was a fine way for him to put it.
But what he was doing.
He was. You guys were having a little playful moment there. Seems to me you might have decoded the
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, the rotation is not official yet, but I'd be very surprised if it wasn't Edison Volquez in Game 1, Johnny Cueto in Game 2, Yordan Ventura in Game 3, and Chris Young in Game 4. So basically, if you did a power rankings of who are the best Royals pitchers, you could argue if Ventura or Volquez are their best guys, right? The issue is Johnny Cueto and the Royals' lack of interest in letting him pitch on the road again after the way he just sort of gagged it up in Rogers Center. And so, you know, Rogers Center and Citi Field are very different in terms of, you know, the dimensions. It's the National League, so there wouldn't be a DH. But, you know, the Royals, I think, feel that they just want Cueto to feel comfortable, and he looks most comfortable at Kauffman Stadium. So you have to decide, if you're the Royals, what's a better option for Game 1? Volquez on regular rest or Ventura on 3 days rest, because Ventura pitched on Friday in Game 6. So it makes more sense to use Volquez in Game 1, and then if you have to use Cueto, if you have to keep Cueto off the road, you pitch him in Game 2. So yeah, that's kind of what the rotation is. It's no shock.
No shock.
But yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And look, I don't know if you feel this way, but I do think of Volquez as being their most reliable guy all year. It doesn't mean he'll be the most reliable guy Tuesday. Who knows? But I think if you can make the case he's the best chance to win in Game 1. Not make the case, that is the case. So
I'd start Chris Young, but
yeah,
but,
well,
you know, I think the Kansas City Stars are more enamored with Chris Young than the Kansas City Royals. But yeah, I mean, Volquez is, you know, his ERA is like 4.3 in this postseason, but 3 of those runs were inherited, or not inherited. They were given up by Kelvin Herrera after he had left. He's pitched pretty well for them. You know, Ventura has been okay, but again, the Royals are not going to get 7 innings from any starter they have this year. That's not their game. So it's really just keep the team in the game for 5 innings, you know, and then turn it over to the horses of the back end.
One last thing, if we're not overloading this video too much, and maybe you've already gotten into this a little bit, Andy, but just I am intrigued by what it does to the Royals to just not having Morales for the.
It hurts.
It hurts. Yeah.
It's part of the, you know, it's part of the rules. I mean, it's why there's a lot of American League managers who would like the DH to be in the National League, because it hurts. You know, it takes one of their good hitters out of the lineup. But, you know, at the same time, they still have 8 good hitters. You know, I would say Morales, if you were doing a ranking of where he fits right now in terms of, you know, the heat check or whatever for their offense, is probably 6th or 7th or 8th even. He hasn't had too many huge moments, too many huge hits since that, you know, that explosion in Game 1 of the ALDS. So he's relatively cold. So. Yeah. But it's just, you know, it's part of the job. It's one of the perils of making the World Series.
And one last thing along those lines is just this: are we looking at a possible roster change to accommodate some of this? Or?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe you could argue that you know, Johnny Gomes takes the place of Terrence Gore on the roster, especially since, you know, Gerard Dyson had really little use in the first 2 rounds. So, you know, you could argue that that they're not utilizing their speed maybe as much as they could. They will obviously have pinch hit attempts, and so Gomes maybe makes some sense there in Gore's place.
Well, thanks for being with us. A lot coming up tomorrow, Media Day here at Kauffman Stadium, and the World Series begins Tuesday. Follow us at kansascity.com. It will be constantly churning, I'm sure, with new stories and copy.